Thank you for joining me today. It's Brian Gubernick, and welcome to the No Days Off podcast, where we believe that every single day brings a new opportunity to get better. Before we dive into today's podcast, I just want to ask our No Days Off Nation a favor. If you are liking all that we share on our episodes, or most at least of what we're talking about on our episodes, I would greatly appreciate, I'd very much value you sending and sharing this podcast and various episodes with others. We really do not do a ton to grow our audience. We kind of depend on our current members to refer and share and promote. And so anything you could do to help us get the word out around the No Days Off movement means the world to me. Now, let's talk around today's topic. We're actually going to sort of hit pause on today, on this moment, and we're going to look ahead. We're diving into this exercise that best-selling author Daniel Pink calls the Odyssey Review. Now, the Odyssey Review is a tool to help you imagine a few different versions of your life over the next 5 years. And what each of those versions kind of reveals about you, who you are, and who you maybe want to become. Daniel Pink shared this idea during an interview or a conversation he was having on this podcast with Shane Parrish, another favorite of ours here at No Days Off. And when I listened to it, it really resonated with me. It wasn't just super thought-provoking, but it was kind of clarifying, because sometimes growth doesn't come from doing more. It comes from stepping back and zooming out and reimagining what's possible. And no surprise here, if you're a follower of the No Days Off, you're part of the nation. It comes from asking more and better questions. So Daniel Pink, one of the world's most respected thinkers on motivation and work and human behavior, the author of Drive, another book called When, another book called The Power of Regret. He explores how we can live and work more meaningfully. And in the conversation he had with Shane Parrish on Shane's podcast, The Knowledge Project, Daniel Pink explained how he regularly does something called an Odyssey Review. And it was a term inspired by the Odyssey plan that was developed at Stanford's Life Design Lab. The idea is actually pretty simple. It's about imagining 3 very different versions of your life, each set 5 years into the future. One is going to be your current path, and then the other 2 take different turns. One might be a slight pivot, and the other might be totally out there. Daniel Pink teaches to use this tool for clarity, because when we explore alternative futures, we expose all sorts of things. We expose assumptions. We start to unlock some creativity. Sometimes we stumble upon truths that maybe we've even been avoiding. And so, like I said, when I heard of this idea and I thought through it for myself, I was really surprised with where my mind started to go. So, as I mentioned, this Odyssey Review kind of has you going and analyzing or assessing, I should say, 3 different lives. Life A, we'll call that number 1. Life A, stay the course. Okay, so this is the life that you're currently building. If nothing major changes, what does 5 years from now look like? What are you doing for work? Where are you living? What's going on in your family? Who are you spending time with? What sort of experiences are you having? And most importantly, how do you feel about all that? Now, in my opinion, this isn't just about visualizing. It's actually about evaluating. And the evaluation is, are you energized by what you're seeing, or are you drained? Are you fulfilled by what you're mapping out, or do you see that you're stuck? If you kept doing exactly what you're doing, is that actually enough? So, life A, stay the course. Life B, this is the slight pivot. So now we're going to adjust just a bit. Life B is kind of the fork in the road. It's not a U-turn, it's a fork in the road. Maybe in this version, you start your own company if you haven't already done so, or you move to a new city, or you downshift to spend more time with family, or you upshift to take on a bigger goal. Ask yourself, what change have you been considering but haven't committed to yet? What's the version of you that's realistic, but still different from where you're at today? So again, this is one, I'm hesitant to call it slight because moving to a new city, some may see that as a slight change, but others may see it as significant. But we're not rewriting our entire future. We're just simply saying, like, if I went right instead of left, this is the fork in the road. So again, what change have you been considering, but you actually haven't committed to yet? And then what's the version of you that's realistic, but still different? Now, what fears are holding you back? Because this second life, oftentimes it shines a spotlight on what's missing from your current one. Now, Life C, the third version, this is the wild card. Okay. Finally, we get to be incredibly creative here. We get to go full tilt. This is your no rules version. Okay. So if money, status, expectations, if none of those things were a factor, what life would you live? Would you coach a high school football team? Would you become a writer and live in the mountains? Would you travel the world as a photographer? What would you do? Wild card, no rules. Now, this version, this particular, Life C it's not about fantasy per se, it's about freedom. And what does it reveal? It probably reveals some dreams we've buried under what I guess I'll call practicality. So, what's something from Life C when you do this analysis and you go through your wild card, rogue Life C version? What's something from Life C that you actually could start dabbling in today? What's one experiment you could run? Something worth considering. Now, why does all this matter? I think the truth is that most high performers miss a few things. First, we often get so focused on doing that we actually forget to ask if we're doing the right things. It's just go, 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 go. But we tend to not pause and reflect on if we're actually doing the right things. I think the Odyssey review kind of gives you a framework to step back and evaluate your direction with a little bit more intentionality. I'm not trying to get you to necessarily choose the best life right now. I'm just trying to create more awareness. I think awareness is so critical in all areas of life and relationships and wealth, business. So when Daniel Pink does this exercise, he doesn't always act on it immediately, but he always learns something. And I promise here, you probably will too. So here's your challenge today, your no days off challenge. I want you to carve out 15, 20 minutes, and I want you to complete your own Odyssey review using the format we just provided. Write down your 3 lives. Okay. Remember your current life, right? The stay the course life, the slight pivot life, which is the fork in the road, and then the wild card, no rules version of life. I want you to write down those 3 respective lives. And then I want you to just kind of sit on them. I want you to reflect. And if you're brave, maybe you share them with your mentor or a close friend or maybe your spouse. Because I think that these big lives that we all intend to lead, these are not built overnight. They're built one decision or one reflection or one reimagined future at a time. I think this is a fun exercise. I challenge you to do it. That's all I have for you today, the No Days Off podcast. Thank you so much for listening. And remember, every single day brings a new opportunity to get better. So let's get after it.